it was my birthday.
Hello ladies and gentlemen and everyone watching. Today we'll be looking at Charley Says, an 8-part British animated public service film series that was aimed towards young children and aired during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It starred Charlie, a disheveled looking orange cat, as well as a youngling named Tony, also a looker. Like most PSAs, they try to warn children about the safety hazards that they could encounter in everyday life. And sometimes the PIFs get a little bit dark. Before we fully jump into these PSAs, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, it's good to see you again. Alright, grab a snack and let's get into it. The first PIF is, Charley Says, never play near water.
One day when my dad went fishing, he took Charlie and me along. While he was fishing, we started having fun with the puddles. Dad shouted, "Come back here!" But just then, Charlie tried to do an extra big jump, and he went over the edge and into the water.
Charlie fucking drowns.
Charlie nearly drowned. It was very lucky for him, he caught on the line. Charlie says next time we go fishing, we should stay very close to Dad where he can look after us. And he hopes that when you go near the water, you'll stay close to a grown-up too.
I think the message is pretty clear, as it literally spelled it out there at the end. The PSA was well received because of its whimsical nature, while simultaneously being spooky enough to grab a child's attention and scare them with the face of death. Horrible, painful death. I heard drowning is one of the worst ways of dying. That or burning alive. Charlie meets the cartel. To any new parents out there, I highly suggest teaching your kid how to swim at some point. I know a pool might not be readily available or financially available, but I think it's one of the more important things that humans should learn how to do. At least tread water. We don't need a Michael Phelps out there. Well, it'd be pretty cool if we got another one. But you don't need your kid to be Michael Phelps. Just tread water at least. Because like the PSA inferred, you never know where your kids are going to be playing at. When I hit a certain age, my mom and dad were just like, be home before dark. I told that to the guy in the back of the van. He was like, perfect. If you don't have the resources to teach them how to swim, just imprint in their young little impressionable minds that they will burn for eternity if they don't wear a life jacket near water. Charley Says, in the kitchen.
Charlie says that stoves are dangerous to go close to because there are so many hot things there that can hurt you.
This PIF is much more tamer than the one where Charlie just drowns.
What have I become?
He only gets slightly hurt, and even then, the animation for the injury is extremely tame. Honestly, I think the scariest part of this PIF is Tony's mom. She looks like she's in the process of rigor mortis. Charley Says, play with matches. Grab your parents' matches, they're probably in a drawer somewhere, wherever candles are. Grab the matches, light them on fire, and then throw them at your drapes.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Charlie says that if ever you see a box of matches lying around, tell Mummy because they can hurt you.
Yeah, I loved playing with matches when I was a little kid. Just seeing the reaction that ignites the flame, and it slowly dwindles down and burns the wood, kind of like the passing of time, slowly drifting away in front of you. And all you can see is your regrets and worries, all laid out in front of you, until the painful touch of the burn. Charley Says, Mommy should know.
Charlie and I were out the back when Vera and Dave came by and said, "Come along for a picnic." And I was going, but Charlie said, he says I better tell Mum where I'm going. So we told him to wait while we went and asked. But Mum was talking to the milkman. And she talked such a long time that when I had asked her and she'd said yes, the others had gone. Mum asked us why we hadn't gone, and when I told her, she said we'd been good for not going, and would we like a day out with her instead? Charley says, always tell your mummy before you go off somewhere so she knows who you are with.
Another good message, and again, not much to add, but what I can say is, hey, fellow youth out there, if I wasn't going to fight for America, why would I fight for you young bucks out there? It is annoying to let your parents know where you are. Sometimes I felt like my parents were just third wheels on dates, which was so fun. However, the trade-off of having strict, maybe a bit overbearing parents, or meeting someone like, I don't know, Diddy.
Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy.
Or a lot of priests, judges, Boy Scout leaders, politicians, grandparents, uncles. Look, sometimes it's better to be safe rather than sorry. Especially if that sorry's...
Hi, I'm Jared, the Subway guy.
Charley Says, Charley's Tea Party.
Charley says he knows now that it's dangerous to pour the tablecloth because the hot water from the teapot hurts him very much.
I said in the intro that these PIFs were aimed towards young children, and I'd say the age demographic that the PSAs were going for would probably be like 10 and under, because there's obviously nothing too severe in like injury-wise, besides like Charlie looking like Lieutenant Dan.
Kiss my crippled ass.
But pulling covers off of tables and then being hurt by whatever is on top of it, that's a very like small human thing to do. Also, kids are just dumb as fuck.
Jake, what you doing?
Open.
And if there's any UK viewers out there, I'd love to know, do your cats actually sound like this? Because ours sound like meow.
Meow.
Charley Says strangers.
Charley and I were in the park. Then this man came up and said, would I like to see some puppies? And I said yes. And I was going to go, but Charley stopped me. Charley's reminded me, my mum says I shouldn't go off with people I don't know. Then the man went away.
That was a very undetermined kidnapper, which is a good thing. It's good. However, if I was a kidnapper, which I'm not, but if I was, I would have a bit more drive than that. Like, oh, you don't want to go with me because your cat said not to? Then I just kicked the cat and grabbed the little...
We went and told Mummy, and she said we'd been very good. I got an apple and Charley got something he likes. He says never go anywhere with men or ladies you don't know.
An apple for almost getting kidnapped? If I told my mom that I almost got kidnapped, I would have used that leverage to be like, that was so traumatic. Man, a puppy would help me heal. Charley Says strangers brings back some of the creepy imagery that we saw in the first PIF. You know, where he drowned. To me, it's kind of creepy when the stranger initially shows up. He's like in the background like Michael Myers, and he got gloopy little legs. And besides the implications of a stranger kidnapping a child, there's another PSA that wasn't too disturbing. And quite frankly, I think we should be more blunt with children about why strangers might want to abduct them. Because I grew up on stranger danger. The only thing is, I just thought that all strangers were just at the base level. I didn't know some of them wanted to touch me because I was a cute-ass doughboy growing up. I just know creeps were looking at me just licking their lips. You clicked on this video. Now, for the final 2 Charley Says PIFs, they were actually released in 2014 and 2015. The original publication of the first 6 PIFs were in 1973, so it took a long time for them to resurrect. And you'll be able to tell right away. Not because of the animation, they kept that the same. The voice acting is very, very different.
It was my birthday.
He sounds like Jared Leto imitating his version of the Joker.
Au contraire, my little fish stick.
Also, Jared Leto and his stupid cult. Like, if you're gonna have a cult, make it cool.
I was being nice to Mummy, so I decided to make her breakfast. I looked around to see where we could plug in the toaster. I said we could plug it in here, but Charlie stopped me and said it could be dangerous. Charlie burned his paw when he stopped me from touching the socket. When Mummy saw what happened, she said Charlie was right. So Mummy gave Charlie a treat for being so clever. Charlie says never put too many powerful appliances in one socket as they can heat up and catch fire.
Like all of Charley Says, the message is bluntly written out for you. However, unlike all the other PIFs, this was not received that well. People gave the reboot of the PIFs accolades for trying, I guess. But most viewers also agreed with me, saying that the voice actor should have been another child. I don't like when adults do baby voice. It's weird.
Bobby?
Yeah?
What you doing?
Especially if it's a man trying to pretend like he's like a 6-year-old.
It's destruction day.
These newer Charley Says PIFs were released under electronic safety first. And the creepiness from the next 2 PIFs aren't really anything that was meant to be creepy. I just cannot get past the voice acting. The voice actor's monotone bass, like mine, just gives it such an uncanny feeling whenever he tries to pretend that he's a young child.
See where we could plug in the toaster.
Toaster goes into the bathtub. This isn't a beach, this is a bathtub. Again, my feelings were reciprocated with other viewers who felt as if the voice was just a bit off and that the PIF would have done better with a child voice actor. Now, if you were taken out by that first PIF and the voice acting there, just wait until you see the second one they released.
It was my birthday, and Mummy arranged for Charlie and me to have a little party. Charlie loves singing, so Mummy said we could go to the market and buy a karaoke machine. So we went down there. I asked why it was so cheap and spelt wrong, but the man at the market said it was fine. Charlie is such a good singer, I let him go first. Charlie says he'll never buy fake electrical goods again.
It's my birthday.
It was my birthday.
I know some people who talk like that, and it's a task to listen to them. And also, yeah, they did reuse some animation. That's not the focus point right here. The voice actor, comedian David Williams, kind of fumbled with these later PIFs. Granted, people still enjoyed them because they enjoyed the old ones, and it's like, yeah, I want to see the new ones. If you feel the same way with these last 2 PIFs, let me know. I feel like Charley Says kind of lost its muster. And that was the series. Like mentioned, the original 6 PIFs were created and released in 1973 by Richard Taylor Cartoons, and they took off like wildfire, all throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And they also reached into the 2000s with the internet. Hell, it even surpasses the 2010s, as the 7th part of the PIF of Charley Says was released in 2014, and then a year later in 2015, Charley Says Never Buy Counterfeited Electronic Goods came out. Granted, reception wasn't as well received. It's still impressive for a PSA series to last that long. The PIFs not only gained popularity because of the childlike animation, but also there's moments where a younger child might feel terrified. Couldn't be me though. The PSAs were aired on TV, as well as having a VHS and a DVD. The original voice for Tony was one of Richard Taylor, the producer, one of his neighbor's kids, which is pretty impressive for a child who's never voice acted in their life. Meanwhile, Charlie Boy was voiced by Kenny Everett. The newer versions of Charley Says was voiced by David Williams. What caught my eye with these PSAs is the uncanny paper-like animation. I really like the art style, and on top of that, it feels like there's some sort of like weird radiation effect going on with the video. Not only with the sound, because it sounds like what radiation does to video, but also there's other British PIFs talking about like nuclear war and like radiation fallout that have the similar animation color tone. Yeah, it's not the most scariest or disturbing PSA that I've covered, but I think it's a good PSA you can show to young booger eaters that isn't too scary or graphic, that should get the message through all while being fun. And, you know, gripping their attention spans. Unless you've given them an iPad, then no one can save you. But also, the PSAs are a little bit scary, which for a kid, itching that scary bone is always good, to a certain degree. Like when I was 6 watching Child's Play on my iPod, that's probably past that degree. If you grew up with any of these PIFs, then please let me know what you thought of them. Did you think they were goofy at the time, or did you see them in an endearing way? Also, any thoughts on the new voice actor?
To have a little party.
But that's where I'm going to end the video today. If you enjoyed my mindless yapping, then leaving a like really helps me out. It helps the channel grow, and it just makes me smile. If you think any of my attempts at comedy earned you a subscription, which I don't see why it would, you should hit subscribe before you leave. And then we can all argue at Thanksgiving about politics. I have more PSA videos linked here at the end. Way more disturbing material than Charley Says. So if you like my talking with the PSAs, then go for it. If not, see ya. Well, you probably already clicked out. Alright,